Hi y'all, today we're going to talk about high protein diets and weight loss. I did all of my research with this one paper, which was published in 2010, and we're going to talk about it today. First, about me, I am a Texas Tech student. I am studying sports nutrition. I have been for the past year or so. Hopefully becoming a physical therapist soon. And for all my dog lovers out there, that's Allie, and I love her dearly. Key points we're going to cover is just a little bit about the article, the purpose, how they did it, and what the results were. This is the article in all its glory. I can link it below if you want to see it on your own screen. This is the guy who put it all together, Thomas P. Wycherley. He is a lecturer of the University of Adelaide in Australia. And he published this research in 2010 with the Diabetes Journal. So the purpose of the paper was to take people who are obese, who have type 2 diabetes, change their diet, and possibly introduce them to resistance training to see if it changes how they lose weight, what their body composition is, and all of those cardio risk factor for disease. So we had 83 people, which is a lot. We had men and women who ranged from 47 to 63. They were all in that obese BMI range, but something important to note is that none of them have had resistance training or aerobic exercise in the past 6 months. So they're pretty sedentary to begin with. We divided them into 4 groups. We have a carb diet, a high protein diet like I showed you before. We also did that carb diet with resistance training and the protein diet with resistance training. So this is the carb diet and the protein diet. Obviously with carbs, you have a little bit more carbs. With protein, you have a little bit more protein. But overall, they kept a pretty low fat composition for all of the calories that they took in every day. So this is the exercises that the resistance training people did. This just lists a few of them. You can see things as like shoulder pulls, lat pulls, we had leg extensions, and things like that. So we measured them along the 16 weeks, about every 2 weeks. For the body mass, the body composition, the weight composition, that was through a scale, a DEXA scan, and a skin fold measurement. At the end, we only saw 53 people stick it out. They ranged from 47 to 58. So if you notice from previous slides, that's the old people. They dropped out. But they dropped out pretty equally so that they could continue the research without having to change a whole lot. So the body weight changes are listed here. This is in kilograms, so you would have to change it to see how many pounds they actually did lose. But overall, there was a huge difference, not a whole lot of a difference between the two diets, but the people with resistance training really benefited. And fat mass and the weight composition is listed here. Similarly, fat mass and weight composition were reduced, but the high protein diet and resistance training had the greatest reduction. These are those catabolic rates, kind of dealing with the type 2 diabetes, all of those factors. So we decreased their blood pressure, their lipids, glucose, A1C, between all of the groups. And then we also saw that insulin concentrations decreased with high protein and resistance training twofold over everybody else. And these are some more of those stats. So in conclusion, we'll go back to the goal and we'll see what they wanted to do. So they wanted to reduce the weight and body composition, cardiovascular disease risk factors of people with type 2 diabetes and who were obese, just by changing their diet and increasing exercise. And we can see that at the very end. We saw that they decreased the risk factors, glycemic load, weight, fat mass, and weight concentration. But we see that the greatest effect was the people who had high protein and resistance training. So if you're eating high protein and you're exercising, you're going to see more results. Not that just a plain carbohydrate diet is bad, but if you exercise a little bit more, you will get better results. And then special notes was there was a correlation between the amount of weight that they lost, the fat-free mass they lost, and the rate of insulin they still had at the end of the trial. So with that being said, it's interesting to see how insulin holds on to that adipose tissue, which is that fat tissue. And so they kind of fluctuate with each other. And then fat-free mass decreased similarly amongst all of the groups. So everybody lost fat, but our people who did the resistance training gained more muscle, and so their weight didn't change as much, but everybody did lose fat. And so this is the end, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you need anything else, leave a comment down below.